better degrees. There are people with better opportunities, but they never made it to Kenya. People were born in America, and they never, go past captain. And I came to America very late and still made it to Kenya. It's not me. It is God's favor on you. And if you recognize that this is a favor, then you'll be humble and learn to share with other people. Look at the concept of righteousness in the Quran. When the Quran came to talk about righteousness, it said, لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ أَن تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ قِبَلَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ وَالْكِتَابِ وَالنَّبِيِّينَ وَآتَى الْمَالِ. After the Quran listed faith, beliefs, certain beliefs that you have to be a Muslim, because beliefs are the foundation. They are the foundation. They are deep embedded in you. This building we are in right now has foundation. Whatever is on that foundation will not be standing if the foundation is not what? It's not solid. So that's what belief does. It provides you that foundation. But what you build on that beliefs, the first thing the Quran mentions, it didn't mention prayers. It mentions what? وَآتَ الْمَالِ. Sharing. Giving of what they have. Which means service. Service. So that is something we have to take seriously. And when we take this social responsibility of service are very, very important, how is that connected to fasting? If you read about fasting, the Quran tells us that the very purpose why God enjoined fasting is that we may attain taqwa. And the word taqwa, scholars have often translated it as fear of God. Yes, it's part of that, but it's bigger than that. When you talk of taqwa, you're talking of a state of consciousness, mindfulness, a state where you live in the presence of God, that you know very well that at every point, God is watching you. That's what piety means, that I live in the presence of God. I mean, the reason why sometimes we do bad things is because we think no one sees us. If I walk into this room and I see the chairman's I-28 or whatever it is, nice phone, I may have opened the door. But before I take that in and hide it in my pocket, I'm going to look left and right and make sure no one is what? No one is watching. But once you convince yourself that God is watching, you can see you can go wrong, right? So, but when it comes to this idea of being God conscious, where does that begin? Your relationship with people. Your relationship with people, how you treat people. My brothers and sisters, if you want to know whether your prayer is good, judge your relationship with people, because God will never speak to you directly and tell you are doing well. But you can tell yourself I'm doing well based on how you relate to people. There's a reason why service is important. It's emotionally important to you. Just imagine when you do good to somebody and that person says thank you. Look at how you feel. It's therapeutic. Even though you did it for the sake of God. But when the person says thank you means a lot. And if you meet a person who is ungrateful and you do good to them and they show their ingratitude, your feelings is also different, right? So if it is just for the sake of God, why do you have to worry? Right? But because God wired us that way, that is why service is very important. So the very idea of taqwa, this year I was talking to some of my colleagues. We have come to understand Ramadan as kind of like a one-stop gateway to heaven. Whereas the Quran tells us that the purpose is to cultivate taqwa. It's not to go to heaven. Ultimately, that's what we are doing. But the Quran says Ramadan is to provide you tools that you can use after Ramadan throughout your year, so you can what? You can benefit. So relating to people then becomes a concern of what? Of fasting, of the month of Ramadan. And in Ramadan we reflect. we reflect on the state of our relationship with God. It is a spiritual experience, but at the same time, God wants us to cultivate empathy through direct experience of hunger, of pain. Because once you go through it, you see how it feels not to have something to eat. Today we are fasting. It's a choice. God doesn't force you to fast. It's a choice. You chose to, to give up what? Your food. Some people, it's not a choice. They just don't have anything to what? To eat. Some people, it's not a choice. They just don't have place to sleep. Some people, it's not a choice. They just don't have the resources for medical care. So, what is your role? That is why the world, we are not islands unto ourselves. We are not islands unto ourselves. We are a community. We are a community. The prophet tells us that if a person dies in a community where others out of hunger, where others have so much to eat, then they are responsible for that person's death. They are responsible for that person's death. But when we talk about service, it's not just what we provide. It's even the daily relationship. I tell people it's cheaper for me to live in the U.S. today than to live in Ghana. I mean, Ghana is expensive. If I live in the U.S. as a retired military officer, I have a very easy life. But what I don't get is that community. Is that social life. When I wake up in the morning and I sit in front of my house in Medina, people walk by, the kids will go, Salam alaikum. Some people call me even grandfather. I don't know why they call me that way. And people pass by. So that is therapeutic. Just like the Honorable Doctor was saying, it's therapeutic. But I go back to the U.S. I just came back from U.S. I can go to the U.S. I can stay there for 3 months. Other than the kids in my house that I communicate with, I will not talk to anybody until I come back. I don't see my neighbors. If I was to see my neighbor, the person is either coming out of their garage in their car. When I see them next time, the garage door is open, they just drive through. No relationship. That's why people commit suicide. Imagine a country like America, a very rich country. People commit suicide. Soldiers commit suicide like something. It's very easy to commit suicide, right? So that is why service becomes very, very important. Caring for people. The director just talked about visiting a colleague. Let me tell you, I have studied a lot, several degrees, but I have not learned in the books how to be a leader, especially a religious leader, except running around some Christian chaplains. Because taking care of people, I struggle with cold. Cold is one of the things I just don't like. And thank God I didn't have to be standing, pulling guard. But whenever I drive through a military base and I see a young soldier standing at the gate in the cold, I have a lot of respect for them. And you can see them looking frown. I just say, how are you? How is your family? And then they will lighten up. I say, oh, thank you very much. How is your family too? Just asking simple question. How is your family? They will lighten up. And that's what we need to do. Unfortunately, we are becoming like the West. We used to live when we were poor, we used to live in these parliament houses and in all these single rooms. Now, thank God, God has, brightened our pockets and, giving us some money, and now we're also building these walls, around ourselves, and nobody lives in them but us. And we are moving into the same category that a sister is talking about. Well, not just you and you in your house. We don't reach out to other people. There are many ways we can use Ramadan to really serve other people. Other than what I talked briefly about relating to people, taking care of people, providing for the needs of people, we can also steward the environment. It's part of service. Allah tells us in the Quran that وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. He created everything on earth for you, which means you have to take good care of it, right? You have to take good care of it. You talk about sicknesses. Often I tell my Muslim community that a lot of our people who go to the clinics, to the hospitals, these are hygiene diseases. If they just tighten up their environment a little bit, they will save a lot of money. A lot of the small diseases, it's not from gutters filled with unhygienic things, not cleaning after ourselves, and things like that. So we have a responsibility to take care of people. We have to take care of the environment. It's very, very important. And then there's very concept of citizenship. I tell my senior officer that Ghana is a good kid in a bad neighborhood. Think of that. Ghana is a good kid in a bad neighborhood. Look at all the countries around us and see how we are doing. Throughout, my lifetime, the relationship between the Muslims and the Christians has been very excellent, right? I remember I was sent to school by a Christian family, an Igbo family that came from Nigeria during the Biafra War, came to live in our house. My father just sent me to an Islamic school. And then the Igbo people told my dad, your dad is growing in a secular country. You probably want to also provide him with a secular education. And I said, okay, go ahead, go find school for him, I'll pay for it. That's how I started schooling. During those days when it's Christmas time, because Muslims are very picky on what meat they eat, they intentionally give you the chicken to slaughter, so you have no excuse not to what? Not to eat. Unfortunately today, we have people coming, whether from the Muslim side or the Christian side, with all of this extreme idea of what religion is about, and we're trying to, create a frame of, what is not there. Look, we are good living the way we grew up. Your mom leaves home and leaves you with Auntie Akosua. I mean, how can Akosua become your aunt? But she's your aunt because you live together. We didn't have to send kids to daycare or something like that. We didn't have to send children to daycare and pay money because your aunt is there. Even though you may be chamba like me and she is fancy, she's your aunt. We need to build that citizenship. What can we do to make Ghana what? A good place. To continue to be what it is. That is what service is about. It's not necessarily always giving something. It's contributing something. So from the Islamic perspective, how do you get to this? I think the first area we need to look at is the concept of dawah, concept of ministry. Often when we think of preaching, we think it's all about about the faith, about the heart, right? We have not taken care of people as a mainstay of ministry. Visiting people. I once came home, and the imam in my area, who happened to be my student when I was a teacher at Islamic Research, I invited him. I said, Imam, don't you think it would be a good idea once in a while just go home and visit your congregants, your community? And initially he was surprised. What does that mean? Then I left. I came back the following year. I asked him, how did that go? He said, I'm so surprised. I go to their home, and they get so excited. Now they want to tell me things that they would rather not what? Talk to me. And some people will say, Imam, I've always wanted to talk to you, but there are people always at the mosque with you. I couldn't talk to you. Okay, these are things. He was surprised. Now they are talking to him like our doctor says, telling him things he can do to make a difference. Things he can make a difference. So we have to change the way we understand what ministry is about. With that, we have to look at the role of the mosque. When the Prophet ﷺ, the first public project he embarked on was to build a mosque when he came to Medina. But he was not just building a place for prayer. He was building a community center where people came for general welfare. He spent most of his time in this mosque serving as a judge, as a teacher, as a counselor, as many things to many people. Unfortunately, today our mosque is nothing more than a prayer. It's just a place. There's no life in our mosque. There's no life in it. It's just a prayer place. I mean, the money we invest in building mosques, and we only spend 50 minutes a day. I mean, if you build your own home with all these millions of, are you going to spend 50 minutes in it? Because you spend Fajr 10 minutes, Zuhur 10 minutes, Asr 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we are gone. There's no life in the mosque. We need to change that. And because there's no life in the mosque, you have people in the mosque who are hurting, but nobody is paying attention. Most of the time, we invest in the building. When we think of the mosque, we think the building. So all the money we get, we put in the building. Oh, today we need a new POP, we need a new concrete, we need this. It's just the concrete. Concrete will not give you anything back. It's just swallow everything and look at you. You can see every year we have to paint the mosque when the mosque is already painted. Right. You know, I was listening to I went to a mosque and they were talking, all the mosque is tiled, but somebody gave money for the annual paint. And I'm like, okay, what are you going to paint? If you've tiled everything, what are you painting? So we have to change our concept of the mosque. The mosque is the people. The mosque is what? The people, the community. If you invest in the community, they will take care of the mosque. Right? So a mosque will be able to build a school. A mosque will be able to build a clinic. A mosque will be able to build a library. You know, we have this interesting hadith which says that the Prophet said, if you build a mosque, God will build a house in heaven for you. It's a bogus hadith. Because the Prophet didn't say we should, if you build a library, they will build a, nobody builds a library. The Prophet didn't talk about if you build a clinic. Just think of that. We need to change the concept of the mosque. But to change the concept of the mosque also means we have to change the concept of the imam. Right? When we think of the imam is nothing more than a prayer leader. Just a prayer leader. That's all he does. Lead prayers and what? And go home. That's a waste of his time. The imam is a community leader. He leads the community. I mean, when you are a leader, what do? You are visionary. In the U.S. Army, we have a saying, you say, lead the way. And when you say, follow me, the infantry people, they have a saying, the leader will say, follow me, and they say, lead the way. You lead the way, and we what? We follow. Because when the leader says, I can see water over there, and your followers trust you, they'll give you everything. Because that's what you're a leader. You see what they cannot see. You are standing on the shoulders of giants. They can see that. So as you are leading, they are just following you blindly. But they trust in you. That's what a leader does. So the imam to be able to say, you know what, this year, this is what our mosque is going to accomplish. This is our vision for this year. This is our plan for this year. And at the end of the year, what will happen? They will assess it and then look back and say, okay, you know what? We did accomplish what we wanted to do. So those are the things I want to leave with you. If we think of service, Islam is service. It's about taking care of people. At the end of the day, that is what makes sense. Today, when you die, everything you left behind, the physical things, the material things, is useless. It's useless. What people are going to talk about is the good things you did, the difference you made in their lives. And that is why the mosque needs to reassess, so that when somebody comes to the mosque every day, and they are not well, who pay them a visit. Who pay them a visit, right? When somebody is hungry, they can, with their dignity intact, go talk to somebody and they'll be taken care of without anybody knowing what he was given. You know, isn't it sad sometimes in mosque, somebody, after somebody says they need help and they have to stand and humiliate themselves? Just, why can't we have an account somewhere where we can easily, there are some people who are just, they're just lazy people and they want to take advantage, and we are not going to feed into that, right? But there are people who are genuinely, they're not lazy people. They're hardworking, but things just don't add up. What can we do to help people like that? What can we do to help that brilliant student who has the potential to be the next Einstein or something? That is service. Until we take care of people, everything we do will be useless. The Prophet tells us, "Inna Allah fi awn al-abd, ma dam al-abd fi awn akhi." Allah will continue to help a servant so long as that servant helps other people. So if you want to know that your prayer is working, even your fasting is working, look at your relationship with God. You want to Laylatul Qadr? It's not within the walls of the masjid. It's outside the walls of the masjid. That's where you get the real Laylatul Qadr. So until we realize that, I think we are going to go nowhere. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you. Salam alaikum.
Let's give it to me again. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Basham, I think today all our speakers have made my day. These are the issues. Anytime you raise it in the community, people look at you differently. You don't appreciate some of these things. Because like the masjid is cited, it's supposed to be a transformational place. You enter the masjid, before you leave, you become a new person. But unfortunately, today is not like that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, all of you, our lectures, and then for us as beneficiaries, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually bless us. Yeah, let me quickly run through the acknowledgements. Then we take a message from a solidarity from Head of Religious Broadcast and Ladies President, GBC. You have a reps from Ghana Immigration Service. Yes, yes. We have them here. You can raise up your hand and then you appreciate your mashallah. And again, we have a rep from Komog. Yes, my own brother, Abdel Fattah Akili. Mashallah. Want to see you. Then again, we have Al-Hajj Abbas Imoro from GPRTU. Al-Hajj. Oh, I was sitting by him. I didn't. Okay, I've been hearing all anyways, but I never meet you. This is an opportunity for me, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you for coming. Then we have a rep from Hijra, my own brother, Dr. Tanko Muhammad, mashallah. Again, the Judicial Service, Muslim Association, Brotherhood, mashallah. Thanks for coming, thanks for coming. We have Ghana Police Service, yes, Hajia, Semezwa. You are not in uniform, so most people mashallah. All right, then you have Zawiya Sunset. Zawiya Sunset, a rep. Let me see. Okay, mashallah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Then National Mosque. A rep from National Mosque. National Mosque. Mashallah. My brother, you're welcome. Then we have GBC Ladies President. I think it is Faith Ewa, I believe. Mashallah. All right. Thank you very much. Head of Religious Broadcasts, Consular. Okay, Consular. Okay. Inshallah. Thanks for coming. Then the head of public relations, Madam Sophia. Is it Sophia? Oh, Safani. Sorry. Mashallah. So that is what our lecture spoke about, the religious harmony. We are even having iftar and then how they call it, lecture series, and you can see we are sitting as a community, as a society, Muslims and non-Muslims, and that is what you can see and you can have in Ghana. Let's keep that and let's continue with that. Let's clap for ourselves. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Now let's take the solidarity message from Head of Religious Broadcast and Ladies President. Let's clap for welcome and round of applause. At-Takbir. At-Takbir. MashaAllah.
Good evening, distinguished guests, respected leaders of the Islamic community, directors and colleagues from the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and all present. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and the mercy of Allah be upon you all. I feel truly honored to join you this evening as we gather to observe Iftar during the holy month of Ramadan. I also wish to extend my solidarity on behalf of the Religious Broadcast Department of GBC to members of the Christian community in Ghana who are observing Lent, a 40 days period of fasting, prayer, and almsgiving at this time. This evening, as we come together around the theme of Ramadan and mental health, we are reminded that both faith traditions share a common purpose: reflection, self-discipline, compassion, and care for the vulnerable. While Muslims fast during Ramadan, Christians fast and reflect during Lent, both seeking spiritual renewal and a deeper connection with God, family, and community. One of the most remarkable things about Ghana is how Muslims and Christians live in peace and harmony. Across the country, we see communities where children attend schools together, family lives in the same houses, and neighbors share in each other's joys and sorrows. We see colleagues and friends attending joint programs, celebrating and observing key moments of both faith with respect and love. These examples of interfaith understanding remind us that our diversity is strength and our unity a blessing. In workplaces, schools, and neighborhoods, this harmony fosters mutual respect, cooperation, and shared well-being. It is a powerful testimony that when communities embrace compassion and empathy, peace flourishes naturally. Both Ramadan and Lent offer lessons for mental well-being. They remind us to pause, reflect, and reconnect with our inner selves, with God and with others, that fasting teaches patience and discipline. Prayer, reflection, and acts of charity cultivate inner peace and emotional resilience. Supporting the sick, the poor, the vulnerable reminds us that our well-being is tied to the well-being of others. In today's world, where stress, anxiety, and isolation are common, these spiritual practices encourages us to heal emotionally, cultivate hope, and strengthen our communities. It is especially inspiring that this evening's event goes beyond reflection. It is also an action through charity. Funds raised to support the poor, sick, and the vulnerable embody the core values of the Islamic faith, which are love, compassion, empathy, and service. As we contribute, we are not only helping others meet their physical needs, but also uplifting spirits, restoring dignity, and strengthening mental well-being. True generosity touches hearts and nurtures communities. As we celebrate our faith and uphold our traditions, Let us also recognize the blessing of living together peacefully. Ghana has been a beacon of interfaith harmony, and it is our shared responsibility to preserve it. May God continue to bless Ghana with peace, unity, and prosperity. May Muslims, Christians, and all people of faith in our country continue to live in harmony, support one another, and work together for the common good. Let this evening's iftar remind us that spiritual reflection, compassion, and community care are pathways to a stronger, healthier, and more united Ghana. In closing, I commend the Islamic community in GBC for organizing this meaningful event, for highlighting the link between faith, compassion, and mental health. May God bless our country, continue to guide us in peace and understanding, and may our communities thrive in love, unity, and mutual respect. Thank you once again for allowing me to share in this special moment. Assalamu alaikum.
At-Takbir. When she says Salaam alaikum, did you see the difference? No, and that's Ghana.
GTV, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana. Up next.
Ago na ni nyapa nu kwalo katan la Ghana du koma godo weta fa de shere ka ko mi nyak pomale ne do bana mi to he to Bank of Ghana ikanye Ghana gadra ro ko do fa gan la ge Bank of Ghana ye kona banko ka fa to na oji la Ghana du kom patan manya banki yo net so Ghana ko the fact du ko fa banki ko ha ye kona oji banka e pe de je sie e fa do